Commanders Nation brace for chaos. Alex Highsmith to Ashburn is more than a rumor, and I'm about to reveal why it's the smartest or dumbest move Adam Peters could make. But that's not all, because the Brandon AIYUK saga has turned into a nightmare, and I've got the uncomfortable truth no one else dares to say about whether we even want him in the DMV. And to top it all off, I'm going to show you how CHIG is the secret weapon who's going to unlock Jaden Daniels and why his untapped ceiling is the best news we've had in years. This is more than news, this is the future of your Commanders, and we're breaking it down right now. Alright bro, let's kick things off with a rumor that has my heart racing faster than a Jaden Daniels deep ball. The Pittsburgh Steelers, yes, those Steelers, are reportedly looking to move one of their elite pass rushers, Alex Highsmith. And guess who's on the short list of potential suitors? That's right, the Washington Commanders. Now listen, when you hear elite pass rusher and Commanders in the same sentence, you know my ears perk up. We've been building something special on that defensive line, and the thought of adding a guy like Highsmith, man, that's just unfair to the rest of the league. Let's keep it a buck. The Steelers signing Nick Herbig to a massive extension, combined with TJ Watt already being there, creates a logjam. Jason LaConfora, a guy who usually knows what he's talking about, is reporting that Highsmith could be the odd man out due to inconsistency and a schematic shift. Now, inconsistency for Highsmith is like saying a Ferrari is slow because it didn't win every race. This dude has been a forced fumbles co-leader. He's got 45 sacks in 6 seasons, and he's a relentless tactical pass rusher. He makes quarterbacks second guess everything, and he's a ball hawk. That's not inconsistency, fam. That's a disruptive force. So the Commanders are monitoring the situation. Philadelphia, Buffalo, San Francisco are also in the mix, but let's be real, none of those teams have the need or the opportunity quite like we do. Think about it. Our defensive line, under Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., is designed to hunt. We've got Jonathan Allen, Darren Payne, and now you add a guy like Highsmith to the mix. That's a four-headed monster that would make offensive coordinators lose sleep for weeks. Imagine the pressure packages, the stunts, the sheer chaos we could unleash. Highsmith's ability to force fumbles is huge. That's game-changing momentum right there. But here's where the critical analysis comes in, and where my fan brain has to pump the brakes just a little. We've invested heavily in our defensive line already. We've got young talent. We've got established veterans. The question isn't, is Highsmith good? The question is he the right fit at the right price for our current roster construction? Adam Peters has been a masterclass in roster building, focusing on value and long-term sustainability. Highsmith is 28 in his prime and would command a significant contract extension after a trade. We're talking about giving up draft capital and then paying him big money. My personal take, if the price is right, if it's a second round pick and not a first, and if we can get him on a reasonable extension that doesn't cripple our cap space for future moves, then you absolutely consider it. A guy like Highsmith elevates everyone around him. He takes pressure off our young linebackers. He gives our secondary an extra half second to make plays. He's a proven commodity, and in a division like the NFC East, where every single game is a dogfight, having an elite pass rush is non-negotiable. However, if the Steelers are asking for a first-round pick, or if the contract demands are astronomical, then Peters needs to walk away. We're building something sustainable here, not just chasing shiny objects. We have other needs, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that might require that draft capital, but man, the thought of Highsmith in burgundy and gold, terrorizing quarterbacks alongside Allen and Payne, that's a dream scenario, fam. It would send a clear message to the rest of the league. The Commanders are here, and we're coming for you. This isn't just about getting a good player, it's about getting a player who fits the philosophy of what Quinn and Peters are building. Relentless, disruptive, and opportunistic. Highsmith embodies that. Okay bro, let's transition from a potential game wrecker on defense to a potential game changer on offense, but one that comes with more red flags than a communist parade. We're talking about Brandon AIYUK, and this saga, man, it's getting wild. Every day there's a new twist, a new social media post, a new report that makes you scratch your head. First, let's acknowledge the obvious. AIYUK wants to be a Commander. He's best friends with Jaden Daniels, his former college teammate. He's posting pictures in a Commander's helmet, holding a Commander's football. He's practically begging to come to Ashburn. And from a purely football perspective, a healthy, motivated Brandon AIYUK is an elite wide receiver. He's got 294 receptions, over 4,300 yards, and 25 touchdowns in his career. He's a contested catch monster, a YAC threat, and he would immediately elevate our receiving core alongside Terry McLaurin. The idea of Daniels throwing to McLaurin and AIYUK, that's a dynamic duo that could legitimately challenge any secondary in the league. But here's the cold, hard truth, fam, and this is where the hyper-passionate, analytically sharp fan comes out. The reports coming out now, especially from guys like Tom Pelissero, are brutal. He's calling AIYUK a ticking time bomb, a headache for any team. He's highlighting the fact that AIYUK hasn't played in a year and a half, never got healthy enough to get on the field last season, and there are real questions about exactly what you're bringing in. Not just physically, but also on the mental side of things. Pelissero even mentioned a warrant for his arrest, and the constant questionable and bizarre videos on social media. Bro, this is not just a contract dispute anymore. This is a full-blown character concern. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are trying to build a new culture here in Washington, a culture of accountability, professionalism, and team-first mentality. Bringing in a player who is described as toxic, who has voided his guarantees by not showing up, and who is constantly stirring up trouble on social media. That's the exact opposite of what we're trying to build. We just got rid of the old regime's drama. We don't need to import new drama. And let's talk about the money. If we trade for him, we're giving up draft capital, and then we have to pay him a massive contract. If the 49ers release him, which is what AIYUK seems to be pushing for, then he's projected to get a one-year deal around $12.3 million. But even then, Pelissero suggests he'd be a minimum type player right now, with potential upside. Minimum type player for a guy who wants top tier money, that's a huge disconnect. My opinion, and I know this might sting some of you who are dreaming of AIYUK in burgundy and gold, Adam Peters needs to stay far, far away from this situation. The juice is simply not worth the squeeze. We have a young quarterback in Jaden Daniels who needs stability, leadership, and reliable weapons. He doesn't need a veteran receiver who might be a locker room distraction, who hasn't played in a year and a half, and whose commitment to the game is being openly questioned. We have other options. We just signed CHIG, who we'll talk about next, to be a major weapon. We have Terry McLaurin, a true professional and an elite receiver. We drafted Antonio Williams, who has potential. And if we really need another veteran receiver, there are other names out there. Stefon Diggs, for example, is mentioned as a potential low-cost option who just helped the Patriots to a Super Bowl. Keishan Bout, another guy who could be available via trade, doesn't come with the baggage. This isn't about talent, fam. AIYUK has talent. This is about fit, culture, and long-term vision. Adam Peters has shown he's not afraid to make tough decisions and prioritize the team's future over short-term hype. Bringing in AIYUK right now with all these red flags would be a massive gamble that could derail the positive momentum we're building. Let the Eagles or the Bills deal with that headache. We're building a championship foundation, and that starts with character and commitment, not just raw talent. This is a hard pass for me, unless the 49ers literally pay us to take him, and even then, I'd be hesitant. Alright fam, let's cleanse the palate after that AIYUK drama and talk about something genuinely exciting and positive for our offense. CHIG. This dude, our new tight end, is generating some serious buzz, and for all the right reasons. Josh Taylor from Covering the Commanders just put him at the top of his breakout candidates list for 2026, and I'm here to tell you, I'm drinking that Kool-Aid. We signed CHIG to a 3-year, $27 million deal back in March, and at the time, some people might have raised an eyebrow. $27 million for a tight end who hasn't been a superstar? But listen, this wasn't just any signing. This was a strategic move by Adam Peters to give Jaden Daniels a legitimate weapon, a true yak machine at a position where we were in dire straits. Let's be real about our tight end situation last year. Zach Ertz, bless his heart, suffered a catastrophic injury. Ben Sinnott, a former second-round pick, hasn't panned out like we hoped. And John Bates, while a solid blocker, isn't exactly a receiving threat. We needed someone who could stretch the field, create mismatches, and be a reliable target for our young QB. Enter CHIG. What makes CHIG so exciting? It's that untapped ceiling everyone is talking about. He's only 25 years old, a former 4th-round pick with freakish athleticism. Remember his 4.52 40-yard dash at the combine? That's wide receiver speed in a tight end body. He spent his first 4 seasons in Tennessee playing for increasingly worse teams and 3 different head coaches. That's not exactly an environment conducive to maximizing a player's potential. He was even considered a top trade asset before last season because the Titans knew what they had, but couldn't utilize him. Now he's in Washington in David Blau's new offense, and he's already talking about taking that next step in his career. And from what we're hearing from OTAs, the coaches are going to use him as a weapon. He's going to be in the slot, in motion, running whip routes. This offense is designed to give him space, and that's where Chig thrives. He was 9th among all tight ends in receiving yards after contact in his final season with the Titans, and that number is only going to go up. Here's the key, fam. Jaden Daniels loves throwing to his tight ends. Last year, Ertz, even at his age, had 91 receptions for 654 yards and 7 touchdowns with Daniels. Imagine what a younger, faster, more athletic tight end like Chig can do in that same role. He's going to be a security blanket for Daniels, a red zone threat, and a guy who can turn a 5-yard catch into a 20-yard gain. And let's not overlook his blocking. Josh Taylor mentioned he's underrated as a blocker. That's crucial in this new offense, which is reportedly going back to a more traditional huddle and under center snaps, emphasizing play action. A tight end who can block effectively makes those play action fakes more convincing, giving Daniels more time to find his targets or scramble. This isn't just about Chig being a good player, it's about him being the perfect fit for what we're trying to do offensively. He's the kind of dynamic, versatile weapon that can truly unlock Jaden Daniels' potential and make our offense unpredictable. He's going to demand targets, he's going to create mismatches, and he's going to be a nightmare for linebackers and safeties trying to cover him. This is the kind of smart, calculated signing that Adam Peters is making. It's not about chasing the biggest name, it's about finding the right piece for the puzzle, a piece that has a high ceiling and fits the vision of the coaching staff. Chig Okonkwo is that piece, and I'm genuinely hyped to see what he does in burgundy and gold this season. He's going to be a problem for defenses. Fam, mark my words. Phew, what a ride, fam. We just dissected some massive news that could shape the future of our beloved Washington Commanders. From the tantalizing possibility of adding an elite pass rusher like Alex Highsmith to our already formidable D-line, to the absolute circus that is the Brandon AIYUK situation, and my strong opinion that we should steer clear of that drama, to the pure excitement surrounding Chig Okonkwo and his untapped ceiling as a weapon for Jaden Daniels. This is what it's all about, bro. The constant churn, the rumors, the analysis, the pure passion for our team. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are building something special here, a foundation of talent, character, and a winning culture. We're not just looking for quick fixes, we're looking for sustainable success. So, what do you think, fam? Should we go all in for Alex Highsmith, or is the price too high? Are you with me on passing on the Brandon AIYUK drama, or do you think his talent is worth the risk? And how hyped are you for Chig Okonkwo to explode in this new offense? Let me know in the comments below. Your boy wants to hear every single one of your takes. Don't forget to smash that like button if you're feeling the hype, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily Commanders breakdowns. We're on this journey together, fam, and the future is looking bright for the burgundy and gold. Raise hail. I'll catch you in the next one.